I grew up in a household full of Sikhs. My parents were and then so was I by birth.
I was born in a Christian home. As you can tell, I'm Korean, so I went to a Korean church my whole life.
Yeah, so growing up, I never really went to church. My parents didn't go, so I didn't really have the opportunity to. But I used to go with a couple of my friends and their parents to church.
My parents became Christians in their 20s, about the time that they got married. So I grew up in a Christian home.
My friend Noah Krogman in grade 6 invited me out to youth group. And in truth, the only reason I went at first was because of the games.
So our church was really small. There's about, if I could count, there's probably about 10 students, ranging from age 5 to grade 12. Growing up at church, I lacked a really good community. So in high school, that's when I tried to find that community elsewhere.
I didn't really get the full experience because I went to a lot of Sunday school stuff, so I felt like I was doing more arts and crafts than really getting any message or any benefit out of it. So I kind of stopped going because it was just one of those things you did on Sunday where you went and I felt like I was making crafts for the Christmas float most of the time.
I would just do the things my friends did on the weekends and would just find my, I guess, identity in that.
I was like, you know what? I need to give this a try. There is something real here. So end of grade 9, I was like, okay, I'm going to become a Christian.
In my third year, one of my friends moved in with me and my other roommate. He went to church with his cousin who had been going to church for a long time and kind of came back on the Sunday afternoon almost like a different person. So I was a bit curious.
I was a Welcome Week rep, and we do a Lift barbecue with the nursing reps for McMaster. And that's where I kind of got introduced, and I got connected with a girl named Ali Moore. And she introduced me to both Emily and to Laura.
Between grade 12 and university, I read this book called Goodbye Generation, which talks about why the youth of today are leaving the church. At the end of it, there was this section which had a list of churches, and one of the names was Lift Church. And it was at McMaster University where I was headed in the fall. So I was like, you know what? I need to give this a try if I want to manage to keep my faith.
I found out about Lift through my sister. So she's a couple years older than me, and she's been going to Lift for a while. So during my first and second year, I would just go to church and then kind of just leave, and still didn't really have that connection with God.
So what my mom and I did before I even came to the first service is we watched the first sermon in that series, and it was just like mind-blowing, and it was like, yes, that's great, sound doctrine, awesome. My mom kind of gave the go-ahead, and it was like, okay, like you can go and you can check out this church.
The summer before third year, I was down for work training, and I decided to go to Lift.
My girlfriend actually told me about Lift launching at Brock and asked me to come to the preview service. So I figured like I didn't have anything to lose.
So that first week, I checked this place out, and it just blows my mind. Here's this bar that's been turned into this church, and I'm just sitting there, and the worship is amazing. Robin's killing it with a great message, and I'm just like, I want to be a part of this. This feels like home.
And then when I walked in the door, they had a really good welcome team there. They had John and Matt, who were taking time to get to know everybody. And I found it really great the first time I went. Like I never really was familiar with the whole the worship songs at the start, the kind of concept. And now it's probably my favorite part of going to church.
The next Sunday, I came to Launch Sunday, and I just kind of got hooked.
Got introduced to a lot of really cool people as soon as I entered the door, and was kind of hooked ever since.
I remember listening to a sermon of a guest speaker who was just telling us about his testimony and where he was living a life of his own, but I remember him saying that his aunt was praying for him every single day. And then it clicked for me that my parents and my sister was praying for me, but also God was waiting for me to come back to him, and that's where things changed.
this church, it feels like home, it feels like family, and I'm so happy I get to invest into it, because I can promise you that without Lift Church, I would not have remained a Christian. And it has meant so much to have a church on campus.
Lift has helped me find genuine community and helped me build my relationship with Jesus again.